Hi, my name's Jeff Farrington, defensive back coach, defensive coordinator at East Tennessee State University. Today we're going to take a look at the press man technique that we teach, along with a couple of zone change-ups off of our press man that we use to try and mix up the wide receiver and quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see what they look like. Now we're going to show you our press technique, our stance that we like to use. We want, now we'll take more of a parallel stance with our defensive back. We want our weight on the balls of our feet. We do not want our weight on our heels. We want nice, comfortable stance, whatever's comfortable for us. We do not want to get too much bend at the waist where we get locked down, but at the same time, we do not want to get in a stance where it's going to set our weight back down on our heels. We want our shoulders over the balls of our feet. Real important, we want our hands up so we can jab and stab with. We want our eyes low on the hips. Now we'll look at a side view of our stance, and that's what we're looking for with our press stance. With our hand jab, we've got our hands up with our defensive back, and we want to use our inside hand. We play our press technique when we're inside techniques with corners. We might be in a sky technique, and instead of playing that off, we want to move it up and play it from a tight alignment. And number one, we want to take away the slant and take away the inside route. So we just want to use a hand jab to disrupt that receiver, a nice little jab with the inside hand. Okay, go ahead, Coach Humphreys, give him a hand jab there. Hands up with your inside hand right there. We just want to stab it and take it off. Stab it and take it off. All right, now let's show it with a receiver. Say it, hike, right there. Right there. All right, one more time. Go ahead, Coach Humphreys. Give him a look. Hands up. Say it, hike. Good. One more time with the other hand. All right, now inside is to your right. Inside is to your right. Say it, hike. That's it. All right, one more time. Now inside is to your left. Inside's to your left. Say it, hike. That's it. Good. Nice job of our hand jab here. Receiver comes back inside. We close it down, beat the receiver to the spot, and make the pick. Very nice job by our defensive back there. Our defensive back here is going to use a two-hand jab. We'd prefer a one-hand jab with the inside hand. This is a good change-up technique, especially with a receiver that we can recover on, but a quicker guy has a tendency of getting our hips locked. If we miss and we get locked, we can't recover. All right, let's look at a receiver's release versus our hand jab with our inside arm. In this instance, our inside hand's our right hand. Our receiver's going to release away from us to the outside. Now we're looking for our defensive back to cut off that release and take a path to his target down the field. Not following the receiver where he's been and banana in his route, but cutting that receiver off. All right, let's look at it. Let's slow it down where they can see it on set hike. Set hike, bang. All right, one more time. All right, Coach Hump, defender, hop back Corey. Now let's go a little bit quicker, Corey, and take it a little bit further outside. Sit, hike. That's it. Right there. All right, let's give him one more. All right, here we go, Howard. All right, bow that thing out there like you're trying to get away from it. Sit, hike. Good, good, good. That's the angle we want. All right, now when we get to release to our jab hand, we've got to take that hand off. We're going to jab. We're always going to jab and take it off, but now we got to bring the other hand. Bringing that other hand is going to try to jam him and flatten him down. We'll just say he's working back to the inside here. He's trying to get us going outside. He's working back to the inside. So we're working our hips, and we're taking our first inside jab We got to pull it off and bring our opposite hand on. That'll also unlock our hips and get our hips open up the other way. Let's take a look at it. See it, hike. Right there. All right, now let's look at the release to the hand that we're jabbing with. We got to take that hand off, replace it with the other hand, and that'll unlock our hips and get us going. We'll be able to flatten the receiver down. Slow it down just a little bit, Corey, so we can get a good view of it. See it, hike. Okay. All right, Howard, this will be our inside hand. That will be our outside inside jab. We'll lead with our inside jab. Corey, fake him to the outside. Let's see if Howard can take that one off and put the other one on. See it, hike. Okay. One more time. See it, hike. Bang. Good. Good. Release away from the jab hand. We'll cut his angle off and take a good path to cut him off. Release to the jab hand. We've got to replace it with the opposite hand. Get our hips open back up the other way. We'll use our inside open hips. This technique is when we're in a tight alignment. Receiver has gotten our hips open in one direction. We have established now, we have opened our hips. We've committed for a cutoff angle for the receiver, and the receiver reverses and comes back the other way and gets us going the other way, and now we have to flip our hips and work back the opposite direction. We call that inside open hips. Our hips are starting here where he gets us open, he sells us good this direction to the right, and now he brings us back underneath to the left. We would prefer to use an inside open hip so we have a chance to get our other hand on him if possible with our tight coverage. If that's back to the inside, we got a chance to close it back down and flatten his route down. If it's back to the outside, we got a great opportunity to cut that thing off. We could use a speed turn where we throw our chin and drive around. That would be the last resort, but the number one way that we'd like to do it close to the line of scrimmage is our inside open hips technique. We'll take this drill where we're working our hips inside and open, and we kind of take our hands out of it. Sometimes they'll use it with their hands, but we'll just show it to you without our hands. All we're doing is we're just working a drill where we're getting used to using our footwork on the double move by the receiver. Our receiver's going to push us one way, get us open the other, and then we're going to carry it just all the way down the field for about 10 yards. All right, let's get him going there, Corey. Say it, hike. Good, good. We use that drill just to work our feet and work our hips opening one way or the other on tight coverage on the wide receiver. Nice job with our hand jab. Inside open hips gets us going outside. We come back inside. Very good play. Very good reaction by our cornerback there. Here's a situation with the inside open hips. We get too high, we get pushed off. We never get our hand back on the receiver. All right, let's look at stride position from tight coverage. We've had our action, we've had our hand jab, receivers release, we played it. The receiver beats us off the line of scrimmage. We end up on his back pocket, below his back pocket. Well, now we call this an underneath position, and with the underneath position, now he has a two-way go. He can go back to his right, he can break back to his left. He now has an advantage over me. I'm playing catch up on the deep route. I'm trying to cut off any inside route, make the quarterback make the toughest throw back to the outside. We will call that being in an underneath position. If we are over the top of the receiver on the release, we're in good shape on the deep route, but now we will call this a stacked position. We have stacked him, and now once we've stacked him, we've still allowed the receiver a two-way go. Not exactly what we want. We're in great shape for the deep ball, but now we have we've allowed him a two-way go. We would prefer not to be under, we'd prefer not to be stacked. What we'd prefer would be our great position right here, and with great position, we're right there on that front pocket, just like the front pocket on your pants. Now we're in great position for the deep route. We can play and really challenge the deep route. Now we have left him a one-way go to one side. With us inside leverage, we've left him a one-way go back to the outside, which is a tougher and a longer throw for the quarterback, more chance for error. Any inside cut, we're really there to challenge the inside cut and make him reroute and really fight for that inside cut. He does not have a free two-way go on either one of them. What we're looking for is we're looking for the great position. We're trying to eliminate as much under position or stack position as we can. We're looking for great position with our while we're in our stride with the receiver after the release. All right, let's talk about stride position with the receiver and the defender. Corey is our receiver. He's already released off the line. Our defensive back here is covering him. If we end up in a trail position and the receiver's working down the field, if we're in a trail position, we're not in great position on him. He has a two-way go. He can go to his right on a cut, or he can go to his left on a cut. All we're able to do is match that cut from underneath, and we're playing catch-up. Another situation that we look for that we try to stay out of is when we stack over the top of receiver. All right, if we're stacked over the top of Corey, now we've got him covered on the deep route pretty good, but he's got us underneath where he's got, once again, a two-way go to the inside or a two-way go back to his left to the outside. So we're playing catch-up back over the top. What we're looking for on our stride position is we want to be right there on that front pocket. All right, we want to be right on that front pocket. We want to have about almost an arm separation where he can't get a real good push-off from me. But once again, we're not looking to trail on stride position. We're not looking to stack over the top of him. We want to be in good position right on that front pocket where we can key that hip on the intermediate cuts, and once it leaves that intermediate, well, then our vision can rise up to that shoulder right there. That's what we're looking for in stride position. Transition movements that we face after we've gotten our release off of press at the line of scrimmage with our tight coverage, we'll do some different drills, and we'll do these movements matched up. We'll take two DBs, one's a receiver, one's a defensive back, and we will work inside position on the front pocket. Now we're working down the field here, and then we want to break away. We want the receiver to push away, shove away, break away. What we're looking for the defensive back to do is we're looking for him to close to that near hip and eyeball that near hip on separation. So we want to close to that near hip right away. Bang, down the field, breaks back out, we want to close to the near hip. We'll work it back up the field, break it out, and we get back on it, close to it. Get a couple of them and just get an idea of eyes on the hip on the break, close the separation. Number one false that they'll do on the break is the eyes will go back to the ball, back to the quarterback, and now once the eyes go back to the quarterback, you're not closing the distance between the receiver. This is just a transition movement drill that we'll do just to make a habit of closing to the hip to the outside. Another one would be back up in either direction, try to get us going, and then bring it right back up. Just another way that we want to close to the hip. Keep us honest. Try to feed us back to the inside. If we've got good position, he should have to take that path, or the receiver should have to really work underneath us. We should mess the timing up with that route just for the simple fact of our leverage point on that front pocket back to the inside. The main work we're trying to get is on the transition, is we're trying to push to the hip and close with that off the tight coverage. All right, with our transition movements, we're going to work some transition from tight coverage. All right, let's take a look at it. Receivers are always going to try to push off on us and try to create some separation. And the defender's always trying to make that ground up. We want to push. Here, we're keying on his hip. All right, give us a little bit separation right there, Howard. If we get right up against him, he's going to work us over and create more separation in what we want. We want to key that hip, and let's see if we can close back to it. All right, on set hike. Set hike. Push to it. Good, good. Notice how Our defensive back keeps his eye on that hip, and he want to cover that ground back on that hip. All right. One thing that you'll find that the first thing you'll want to do is on the break of the receiver is throw their eyes back on the quarterback. This is just a little drill we work to keep their eyes on the receiver. Let's show them another cut. All right, now let's take it up about 10 and bring it straight back, Ryan. All right, okay, you're in coverage, Coach Humphreys. Say it, hike. Drive back to the hip. Good, good. All right, now let's show them one. All right, Corey, Howard, come on back. All right, now we'll do this. We'll put the inside cut with it, or the cut back to the position of the defensive back so he can get a feel of that great position we talked about a minute ago on the stride position. Because if Corey ends up cutting back into Howard, Howard ought to block him with his body. All right, great position there, Howard. All right, now let's show him the cut back into you. All right, say it, hike. Right there, right there. Cuts him off. Now he's got to work to come back underneath and flatten that cut down. All right, let's try Coach Humphreys. Now, our receiver can make any cut. He can make it back to him, he can make it way, or he can make it straight up. All right, let's see how we react here. Say it, hey! Good, good. That's our transition movement with tight coverage. Nice transition movement here by our corner. We end up over the top and leave him a two-way go back to the inside. We'd like to cut that off and be able to challenge that route a little bit tougher, make the receiver break back outside. Here our defensive back is in the wrong stance, hand jabs with the wrong hand with the wrong leverage. It's not exactly what we want by any means. He does make a nice finish here, and he does keep his eyes on the receiver and makes up the ground. Drives to the receiver. Eyes high, finds the ball, finishes with a nice play. Not what we coach on the release and the hand jab. Our bail technique we use is a misread for the receiver and the quarterback. We're trying to misread the receiver that he thinks he's getting tight coverage where he's really got to work his release or change up the way he might stop block the defensive back out there. And right before the snap, we want to open to the quarterback and we want to travel straight down the field with our bail technique. On the bail, it's real important we keep our weight over our feet. Depending on our read, we will use this in a coverage, a 3-deep coverage where we are now concentrating not on the receiver we're lined up on, but we might be getting a route read off of a receiver inside, a slot inside, and we'll also use our bail technique with more of a man principle when we're concentrating on the receiver that we're lined up onto. So we'll use it two different ways with a technique where we're concentrating on the receiver we're lined up on, and also with a technique where we might be concentrating and getting our route reads off of a receiver that's a slot inside of the receiver we lined up on. So we'll do it two different ways, but that's our bail technique. It's a great change up for us with our corners. It allows us to change up on the stop block and allows us to change up with the release and the read to the quarterback with any route checks or adjustments they might make. All right, let's take a look at a change up that we use. We're constantly moving our corners around. We're showing an off technique. In this situation, we're showing a press technique. Now, we like to match up our press technique with a lot of bail. With our bail technique now, we're going to have our mental weight on that outside foot. We'll say the sideline's here, the inside's here. This is our wide out. We're trying to sell the receiver and the quarterback on a press technique. And now we're going to open up to the inside, push off our inside foot, and now we're going to cross over and run it straight back. We're not working for width on our bail. We're trying to take it straight back down from our alignment, we want to work that bail technique straight down the line, straight down the field. All right, let's take a look at it, Howard. We don't want to give it away with our feet. Keep our feet parallel. Ready, set, hike. Right there, right there. All right, one more time. All right, here we go. Let's time it up. Blue 18, blue 18. Set, hike. Right there. Right there. Bail technique. All right, let's take a look at one on the other side. All right, coach, over here. Ryan, be a receiver for us. Bail right before. We want to time it up on the snap count and bail it right before. Blue 18, blue 18, set, hey! Right there. All right, one more time, Howard. All right, we'll bail right before the snap. Green 18, green 18, set, hey! That's it, good, good, good. Here's a nice job on our bail technique. We want to bail out just before the snap, misread the quarterback. We're come off on number 2. We're playing a 3 deep scheme there. We're in great position if the ball is thrown down the field to the outside. Very nice disguise. Very good job of disguise by both corners here. Bail out before the snap, misread. The receiver and the quarterback has to make sure they're on the same page. That's close to being a dangerous throw going the other way. When we're playing a funnel technique, our defensive back will have him 5 yards off the receiver, off the line of scrimmage. As a rule, we'll disguise that alignment quite a bit, but as a rule, we'll have him 5 from the line of scrimmage, outside shoulder of the first receiver on the outside to his side. His number one objective when we play a funnel is we want to allow him to reroute this receiver, play aggressive on the receiver's releases from outside in. If he gives up a clean release, he would like for it to be to his inside. All right. We will use this technique when we're playing a half-field safety, when we have a safety on that side that plays half of the field. And we are a flat defender, meaning we're responsible for an area of the field in the flat up to 15, 16, 17 yards deep in the sideline area. Depending on the release, if we're attacked to the outside, we want to work outside, maintain our leverage on the outside shoulder, and reroute him. We want him to have to take a path that would bow him outside and really disrupt his route. We will flip back in to the quarterback and sink back to the sideline. We'll work back to the sideline and work our depth and protect our safety who's sitting in there on the hash or just off the hash, covering half of the field by himself. If we get the inside release, we'll work the inside release as much as we can. That is a release that we'd prefer. We still want to maintain the outside shoulder relationship. We don't want to bite in on the inside and then he dives back on the outside and gets vertical in a hurry. We're trying to bubble that vertical to the outside. Any inside release, we'll maintain on the outside shoulder. If we can get a jam on him, we will. If not, that's fine. And then we'll feather it back to the sideline, back in the hole, protecting the flat, and anything back behind us, trying to help our safety on any type of route back in the hole there. Trying to make the quarterback float the ball and buy time for the safety over the top. We do have to be careful if we have a second receiver inside with our funnel technique, closing in with one inside. We do not want to get out leveraged by 2. We must stay on the outside. We want to play everything outside in by all receivers to our side with a funnel technique. We use this technique quite a bit as a change up. It's a good technique for your cornerbacks when you're playing your corners locked up on the receivers, whether it's zone coverage or whether it's man coverage, and now you come out and you allow him to play funnel. It takes pressure off him, and plus it gives you another true underneath defender in your zone coverage. He's not reading on the inside slot. He goes from ball to number 1. Our funnel technique's another change up we use. We'll match that up when we're playing a half field with our safety on one side. We'll take our cornerback and we're wanting to disrupt the release of the wide receiver. What we're trying to do is we're trying to funnel him back to the inside. If he's trying to take an outside release, we're trying to totally disrupt him and flatten him out to the sideline so he cannot get any vertical push up on us with our half field safety. Let's take a look at it. We will go with our eyes back inside to the quarterback to number 1 when we're working a funnel. We'll usually do this 5 yards off the receiver. Corey, give us an outside release and we'll show you with our defensive back how we work our body across. We allow them to shuffle over, quick steps, and we want to work our body across, stay on that outside shoulder, and then flip back to the quarterback on the set height. Set height. Right there. Right there. And we'll squeeze the sideline with our cornerback. All right, let's take a look at a release again with a funnel technique. That'll be to your outside, that'll be to the inside. Set height. All right, Howard, hop back up. Now let's give him an inside release. Inside release. You let him go. Let him go. Work back to that sideline back there. Protect us to the sideline. What we want to do on any inside release is we want to work back to the sideline because the receiver can high-low us even though he releases inside with some type of a smash route, corner route back to the outside, angle route, and bring something underneath from inside out. Set, height. Width, good. Good. We're protecting up to about 12 yards deep in that flat area. Nice reroute to the outside by the corner, flipping back inside. Sees the ball thrown, does a nice job going up, playing his highest point. Here's the funnel technique with number 2 and number 1 close together. Our funnel technique here is over the top of number 1 with our cornerback up top. Let's watch him as we get an inside release and number 2 gets on top of us. We lose our outside in leverage. This is what can happen. Completed pass in our flat area. Very good job of funnel technique with our corner, forcing the inside release, making him reroute, and we're width. We have outside in leverage on the crosser. Sink technique is a softer technique for us, not near as aggressive as our funnel technique. Once again, this technique is played with a half-field safety on his side. However, we call that a read half for the safety, and we call this, this is a read, this is a sink technique for our cornerback. Meaning, with this technique, we will take a little bit different step. We will shuffle step our defensive back on the snap, and now all of our route reads are coming off the inside slot, the inside receiver. We're not reading off of the outside receiver whereas we would in a funnel technique. This is a sink technique. It's much softer. We play it from 6 to 7 from the line of scrimmage, so we play it from a little bit looser than we would from our funnel technique. But it all ties in with what we do off of a press alignment where we will squirm back and set in and play some sink as far as a different read for the quarterback. But everything is route readed off the inside slot. For instance, if we get the inside slot vertical, this defensive back is responsible for the deep outside. He's protecting his safety on the deep outside. The number 1 route we would get out of that combination with the inside receiver up would be a hitch route matched up with a flag route. So we end up with a high and a low. He's responsible to help his safety on the deep outside. However, we will stay in our shuffle with the smash combination. Width to the sideline is very important. One mistake that you'll see us as well as a lot of people make that your guys are going to want to do is on the high-low is they want to work back to the flag. The ball's thrown out here. We try to get them to work back to the sideline so they can get a great break on the ball on the flag. And if the quarterback's holding it, then you get a great break on the outside shoulder of the hitch. That's how we want to play the smash with the deep release by the inside receiver. Now, if we're not getting a hitch route here by number 1, if we're getting a deep route by the man that I lined up over, I'm responsible for the deep outside. It does not change. My safety's responsible for the deep inside. He'll be inside leverage. I'll be outside leverage on 1. Anything that stops after that by number 1, I've got to match it inside out hips and match him and make the quarterback, we'll force the quarterback to make the longest throw out there on the sideline. That would be our sink technique with our vertical release by 2. Let's look at an outside release by 2 with our sink technique. If we have an outside release by 2, anything by 2 that releases to the outside, now that will put us in a flat defender responsibility. Does not matter whether we have outside release by 1, inside release by 1. Once 2 works to me, I am now a flat defender. I'm protecting up to 15 to 16 to 17 to 18 yards in the flat. Work to the sideline, have big eyes, get a great break back on 2 with attitude from the quarterback, but I still have to protect my safety because he is now a half defender by himself. I still have to protect my safety on the deep outside and make the quarterback put air underneath the throw. We're not looking for this guy just to jump 2. Stay outside in of all routes coming from inside out to you. That would be our sink technique there with vertical with him coming to us. Our sink technique we'll use with our cornerbacks. We'll match it up with a half-field read with our safety. Everything's based on the inside slot receiver on alignment. Our corners here, this is our inside slot, and now it's a read half technique. Let's take a look at some of the releases. We'll take the inside slot, we'll take him vertical here. All right, here we go. Set, hike. With the inside slot vertical, our corner's going to protect the deep outside and the safety will protect the deep inside. All right, hustle back, we'll give him another one. All right, this time let's take the slot and we'll take the slot and attack the corner in the flat. Let's take you up on the outside there. Widest. Set, hey. Okay, 2's to him. Now he's got to protect his safety up to about 15. He knows he's a flat defender with 2 to him. He's got to be ready to come get a great break on 2. He's a flat defender there with 2 to him. That's our sink technique. We'll mix that up with our corner on some throwing down situations. Nice job of reading 2 vertical. 2's vertical, we're deep outside. 2 breaks it off. We level it off and we're right there in the throwing lane. All right, here we're going to get number 2 vertical. We're responsible for deep outside. We stay in the shuffle. We're still able to break up on the hitch with great leverage. Let's look at the same route combination with the same sink technique. We get out of our shuffle too quick. We lose our leverage on the underneath receiver. Even though we're deep outside, help with the safety. We could play that better. Thank you for spending this time with us today. I hope you'll continue to use Coach's Choice videos in the future. This is the second tape of a 2-part series, and thanks again.